because Steve Patterson, who rides number 8 in your picture now, is tying on equal points, 27 points, with the number 6 competitor Rob Orme, who is also on the front row. Number 28 there is Kevin Maudsley, and he is from Blackpool, is a renowned and very, very capable 125 rider indeed. A little nod of appreciation there from Rob Orme, number 6. Number 32 completing the front row, Alan Patterson from County Antrim, and number 9, nearest your camera, Ian Newton. All of these men have qualified at a very fast time indeed. 54.3 seconds is the pole position time, 55.3. Steve Parrish only 3.5 seconds outside the 750s. That's pretty good motoring.
Yes, these are very nimble little machines, extremely light. They weigh nothing. They produce getting on for 50 brake horsepower, which is quite a lot for tiny little light machines like this. It pays dividends to be a light pilot, so it's no good having a light machine that's producing 50 horsepower weighing 15 stone. It won't go very fast. But they do. They get around the corners extremely fast because they're so light, and they stop quickly because, once again, they're very not much weight around. But Steve Patterson, who won the 250 race here today, he's on the front row, and I'm sure we're going to see him enjoy riding this this race. He's much nicer to ride than the 250s because they're just so easy to change direction.
Grand Prix regular Alex Bedford was unable to give commitment to this series earlier on because of his Grand Prix involvement, but he did indeed turn out in the 3rd round at Thruxton and won that event, so he has 10 points. It'll be interesting to see whether the Joe Ehrlich EMC, the 7-Up EMC of Alex Bedford's, can make any impression on the flying Hondas of Patterson and Orme. That is the top 6. Perry, Patterson, Maudsley, Orme, Newton and Patterson. The front 6, the 125s, almost ready to go. 20 laps they have ahead of them, 27.4 miles of Mallory Park to do. There will be nothing between them as they drag off down towards Gerrard's. As I say, most of these are Hondas and they are very similar in their performance. Waiting for the flag, the lights on, and away go the 125s, buzzing like so many bees in a jam jar down towards Gerrard's, the fast right-hander, leading the charge, Ian Newton from Skelmersdale. A Euro championship contender, Newton. He is in the front at the moment. Patterson is down in about 5th place. Steb straight, what sort of speed along here, Steve?
About 120 miles an hour, which is pretty phenomenal out of a little 125, and it is only a very short straight. These machines rev to 14,000 RPM, so they're buzzing away. I'd have to slip the clutch a great deal. You'll probably hear at the hairpin here because they've only got a very narrow power band.
Alan Patterson in 2nd place, it is. Newton leading. Alan Patterson in 2nd. Now we have a new leader, 32, that is Patterson through to the lead. And a faller coming out of the chicane. Down goes one, the yellow flag being waved, but the race goes on. One rider off.
I would suggest that's a cold rear tyre. As you saw, you putting the power on, the rear end just slid down and laid him down quite gently, which is a much nicer way of falling off and getting a high side situation. I should think that was just a tyre that hadn't got enough heat in, which inevitably didn't give enough grip.
Well, that is Mark Harrison, who, when he's not racing, works for the family poultry business, so he's no chicken, but he's off it. And the chicane was his downfall, but Patterson now being passed by number 9, Ian Newton. Newton fighting back, so gripping stuff at the first 3 of this. There's Newton, there's Patterson. Through the inside comes 28, that's Kevin Maudsley. So Kevin Maudsley having a go as well now. Self-employed engineer Maudsley from Blackpool. Lying 3rd in the UK Star 125cc series, Maudsley. He's not scored in the Super Cup so far, so a good result today would be most welcome. He is in 2nd. He is in 3rd. Patterson is in 2nd. The young man from Dundrum, County Antrim.
Alan Patterson actually gets a lot of help from the Queen's University of Belfast with engine development and for technical help, and it seems to be paying dividends on his machine. I know they help a lot with the 250, but the 125 is also going very well.
Maudsley in 2nd. Just look at Newton. Patterson, there's Patterson. Patterson in fourth. Very close racing. This is really superb stuff, the 125. Patterson and Orme side by side. Those are the two men who matter. Numbers 6 and 8. They are in third and fourth place. They are tying in the championship lead, both on 27 points. This really is a fantastic race as far as they're concerned. Each of them wants to score a points advantage over the other. These are the 1 and 2, they are the 3rd and 4th, and they are the men who need the points. Patterson from Orme, Patterson number 8, Rob Orme number 6, there they are. They are currently sitting in an 8 and 7 point situation. There will be a differential at the end of this race. Which one of them will get it? It's Patterson, Steve Patterson in third and pushing the others as Rob Orme goes through. Well, we said the 125s would be equally matched. This is fantastic
it's
stuff.
Tremendous, and Patterson goes through. He goes round the outside, nips through. He needs to cut back and hold the others off. But that was tremendous stuff as he just rode quite nonchalantly round the outside. So very impressive from Steve Patterson. He did it in the 250. I'm sure he'll be as keen to do the 125 race. And we have a change. He's being passed. His machine doesn't look to be so fast, but he's riding it well. You'll see him brake very late here and cut across right in front of Ian Newton. Took his front wheel out nearly as he cut through there.
Rob Orme now has to do something about Patterson because Orme is stuck there in fourth place behind Kevin Maudsley and Ian Newton. Rob Orme is number 6. Orme has had 3 second places. Patterson has had 2 wins and a 4th. Orme remarkably consistent. He will be fed up with second. That won't be good enough. He would dearly love to win. A question we have to ask ourselves, can he do it? There's Maudsley, number 28. Patterson, number 8. Ian Newton, number 9. Rob Orme is number 6, and he's in there still in 4th. But Patterson is getting away. There is Ian Newton, the early race leader. Superb style from Newton, really delivering the goods.
These machines, you have to keep your head, as you see the riders got the heads well under the screen. If you put your head up, it can make 500 RPM difference, and that's a lot of speed. So very important to keep your body tucked in. You see they stick their knees out around the corners, but straight back behind the fairing, heads down, and away you go.
Number 9, Ian Newton, has 16 points. He is in 3rd place in the championship. No wonder he is trying so hard. Kevin Maudsley has now taken the lead, but he's on the outside line at Gerrard's, up the S's, I'm sorry. And look, they almost touch. Steve Patterson and Maudsley almost touch up towards the hairpin. A lot of fairing bashing going on, frantic stuff. Patterson still there. Maudsley not giving up at all in second. Rob Orme is now up to 3rd. He's passed Ian Newton, so Orme is on the charge. There's Patterson. Number 2 is Alex Bedford. So Bedford is also in 5th place and on the way up the field. But look at these. You're quite right, Steve. It does seem that Patterson's bike does not have the edge that Maudsley's has.
No, Maudsley's machine is definitely quicker, and you saw he made that move down the straight without any slipstreaming. So I'm sure Patterson will be trying to close on him round Gerrard's here. They're doing over 100 miles an hour here, powering down. Maudsley's got the faster bike, but he unfortunately crashed at Thruxton while being right up the front, so he needs to be a bit steadier here today. It's very important to gain some points for him.
26 years of age, Kevin Maudsley, riding very quickly indeed. His hobbies include motorsport, running motocross and eating spicy food. Well, he's certainly putting some spice into this race, and he is leading now the 2 men who desperately need the points. There is still a 1-point differential between Steve Patterson, number 8, and Rob Orme, number 6. There is Ian Newton. Alan Patterson is also there. Alex Bedford is also there. This is one of the closest races we've seen here at Mallory Park. But Kevin Maudsley now on his way. He is stretching that gap. He is not really in the points reckoning to date. He desperately needs to score something, and he is doing his utmost.
Orme's gone through. Orme's passed Patterson. Both in the same team. The machine's virtually identical, the same team, but Orme has definitely went under the inside of him as they went into Gerrard's corner. He's now holding the inside line. He's going for the lead. Yes, he passes Maudsley as they go into the S's there. A bit of late braking and tucked it up the front inside wheel.
Rob Orme in the lead. Kevin Maudsley and Steve Patterson side by side. What a titanic struggle, and they touched again. He sat up, flicked him up. Patterson a little bit tight there, but he had a go. Went wide. Rob Orme it is, still waiting for them to come out of Devil's Elbow. Rob Orme. Maudsley, Patrickson, Newton, Patterson, and Alex Bedford up to 5th. So there they go. Oh, there's Patrickson. Alex Bedford in 6th, I beg your pardon. That is the 5th place man, Alan Patterson from Ireland. A brilliant delivery from him of riding skill. Look at Maudsley's speed again, Steve. That is a very quick motorbike.
Yeah, well, you've got to give him credit. Maudsley had got on the power early. He was riding extremely well, but his machine does seem the faster as Patrickson nips under the inside there again. Nice bit of outbraking, but these two they're not going to be pleasing their sponsors. They knock each other off. Mr. Clark from Clark Racing is not going to be a happy man because they're certainly having a battle royal here.
Well, it is a fairly serious points situation. 27 each they've got. One of them will end up with 37. One of them will end up with 36 to take to the 5th and final round at Brands Hatch. The 125 championship race there will be a race and a half to watch. Rob Orme is in 2nd at the moment, but he's tasted the front. He'll be wanting to get there again. Steve Patrickson leading, but only just. Kevin Maudsley from Ian Newton. There is just no let-up. This one is going all the way. Maudsley very wide, almost onto the grass, but he hung on to it, but he drifted wide. We can't say that was under power.
Well, no, it was under power because he's only got very, very skinny tyres. Relatively speaking, it was under power. But there's not a lot of grip given by these tiny little tyres, but he was just getting a bit too brave. Maudsley was powering it on, but he's got on the inside line. I'm sure it's going to end in tears here in a minute. It's looking like there's a very hectic battle going on here, and there's just not the room. But
and now Patterson and Patterson off as I speak. Patterson was going great guns. He was moving his way up. He was past. And then, all of a sudden, Alan Patterson threw it away. He'd gone past Ian Newton. He was challenging hard. Rob Orme still on his way. There's Orme. There is Patrickson. Here we come. Up to the chicane. Orme, and you can see Alan Patterson, the front end just goes away. A little bit ambitious on the front brake and tucked it into the turn. Ian Newton did very well to miss him.
He did extremely well. I think he just touched the inside curve there and it got on the sort of slimy paint part and he lost the front end, but luckily no one else was involved. But Patrickson here is riding a tremendous race because his bike is very, very slow. It's not the others that are faster. His machine is much slower than Orme's or Maudsley's, so he's doing extremely well to make up ground on the twists and turns.
Well, that has elevated Alex Bedford up the leaderboard, the top 3, so that's 4. There's Newton. Bedford now up to 5th. In 6th place, it is number 33, Julian Perry, who actually qualified on pole position. He is now 6th in his first season of national competition. There you have it confirmed. Orme leads from Patrickson, from Maudsley, Ian Newton, Alex Bedford, Julian Perry, number 33. A good performance from him. He's riding well. First season, as I say, national competition, but he will have to ride for a season or more to really develop the speed that these two have. They are obviously squeezing every ounce of power out of those Hondas. Patrickson dives through on the brakes. Kevin Maudsley, the ever-watchful Kevin Maudsley, waiting for either of them to put a foot wrong.
Yeah, well, Maudsley's in a grandstand seat. He's watching a major battle going on here, but he's now closed up, so... But as I said earlier, Patterson's riding a terrific race. You can see his machine is much slower, but he's so much harder on the brakes and chucking it into the corners. If you can chuck one of these tiny little machines around like they do.
As the leading bunch goes round Gerrard's, that's Patrickson, Orme, Maudsley. Past a tail ender, Julian Perry is having a real go at Alex Bedford in 6th place. Ducking and weaving out of each other's slipstream. Patrickson leads Orme. This is the way this battle has gone, all the way through. It's been superb stuff. Ian Newton tucked in there. And there, behind Maudsley, we're waiting now for Ian Newton. And then we get Julian Perry and Alex Bedford having a battle all of their own. Here they are. Julian Perry is still just out of the frame. Newton, there, Bedford, Perry right with him. Superb stuff for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th places. On lap 14, Patrickson from Orme, from Maudsley. Well, I have to say, Steve, this 125 race has exceeded by far mine and I suspect your expectations.
Absolutely, a tremendous race, and Patrickson's doing his trying his very utmost to just break away, because with 14 laps gone now, he just needs to be putting a bit of space in between him and Patterson. He'll be desperately keen to shake him off. And neither one of them are shaking off Kevin Maudsley, who's hanging in there. He could be the dark horse.
Patterson, Rob Orme, Kevin Maudsley over that very tricky curbstone at the chicane, out of the Devil's Elbow, coming over the start-finish area one more time. They're on their way. Alex Bedford has got past Ian Newton, so Alex Bedford is now up to 4th place. Alex Bedford up to 4th, Newton down to 5th, and still Julian Perry in 6th. This the race leader, Steve Patterson.
Now this is where Orme's going to make up time. His bike is quicker. He's trying on the outside. I'm not sure if it's the right way to go, but he's done it. You can see how much faster. Oh, no, he is. Terrific. Patterson straight back in there.
Steve Patterson, 7 times and the youngest ever British champion. He won the Pinhard Prize, which is the award given to the competitor under 21 who has delivered the best performance in any given year. Patterson collected that award. He's had an immensely talented ride, and look at this battle now. It's Newton, it's Bedford, and right there is Julian Perry. .125cc single cylinder, I remind you, water-cooled, reed valve in the case of the Hondas, disc valve in the case of the Rotax. Ian Newton, he is in 4th place. Alex Bedford is in 5th, and Julian Perry's in 6th. These are 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the race. Patterson from Orme, from Maudsley. Maudsley seems to be getting closer.
Yeah, Maudsley's closed in now, but I'm very impressed with Steve Patterson. You can see he's very late on the brakes here. Maudsley tries the outside line, but gets shoved out wide by Rob Orme. So it's just starting to spread out a little bit here now. I think possibly Patterson can now make a break, but it's unfortunate for him the way how slow his bike is. You'll see from this shot, Rob Orme will close right in on him and down the straightaway.
Patterson is 22 years of age. He won his first race at the tender age of 15 years. So at 22, a wealth of experience under that right hand and a wealth of knowledge under the crash helmet, and putting it to good effect at Mallory Park, leading Rob Orme, which will give him the decisive 1-point lead in the championship, which he will then take with him to Brands Hatch. Patterson from Orme, but it's not over yet. Kevin Maudsley hovering in 3rd place, and behind them another titanic struggle for the minor places.
Well, Patterson, he can't really afford to sit back and drop into 2nd spot and do it on the last lap. So I think he's going to just have to keep battling on and trying to stay in front of Orme. With having a slower bike, it's very unfortunate, because if Orme gets in front of him down the straightaway, it's going to be very difficult to repass him before the finishing line.
And is Rob Orme thinking, oh no, not another second. That will be yet another 9 points he will pick up, having collected 3 lots of 9 points in the previous round so far. And Orme coming out of the slipstream of Patterson as I speak to go through. Rob Orme, was he tailing Steve Patterson all those laps, fooling you, Steve Parrish, fooling me into thinking that Patterson was riding the canny ride? But look at Orme.
I think Patterson's going to go back in the lead. This is so much better on the brakes, so maybe he can afford to be in 2nd place as they start the last lap, but he's so much harder on the brakes and much quicker through there. He can do it before the finishing line. He's made Rob Orme look a bit silly at that point.
Well, Rob Orme certainly blistered past. He came out of the slipstream of Steve Patterson. Lap 19 we are on, the penultimate lap. Steve Patterson leading now from Rob Orme. A very, very slender lead it is. Not only on the road, but psychologically it's a slender lead. These two have passed and repassed no end of times in this 20-lap epic, and they are having another go now. It is Rob Orme again in exactly the same place, a carbon copy. His ploy now has to be, as they come through the Lake Esses, his ploy now has to be to stay tight at the chicane. Where is Maudsley going to go? He forces Patterson wide and splits the two, and that really put the cat among the pigeons.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy move. He went down the outside much too fast, but I think Patterson had another moment there. He's trying very, very hard. He can't afford to let Rob Orme get away, and he has done because he's biting so much slower. He's out the slipstream now, and Maudsley's come up the inside of him.
Kevin Maudsley on the inside of Steve Patterson. Patterson, determined is too mild a word to use. Determination is written all over him as he comes out of Gerrard's. He is desperate to do something about Rob Orme. There are tail enders ahead of them, but look at the gap. That's the gap now between the leader and the second place man. Patterson, very late on the brakes again, closes up the Lake S's. It's all going to be at the chicane. This could be pretty frantic stuff. It's anybody's go. The rear wheel locking up. Patterson going around the outside, getting the power on, but he's pushed wide by Orme. He bumps him through the chicane. Steve Patterson flicks through the chicane and gets it. He's motocrossing, but out of the Devil's Elbow. And which one of them? Rob Orme by a whisker. Patterson and Kevin Maudsley. That was absolutely amazing. Those two raced all the way. Steve Parrish.
Well, there's no team orders there, that was for sure. And I think they'll probably have a few words to say to each other at the end of all this, because they're bumping into each other. And here we have Kevin Maudsley just crossing the line, freewheeling. Unfortunately for him, but what a terrific race. The best 125 race I've ever seen.
Superb stuff. There appear to be no hard feelings. So that really was a race and a half, but Orme got it by a whisker from Patterson. Kevin Maudsley, Alex Bedford, Perry and Ian Newton coasted home on a sick-looking machine, but he made the top 6.
Good stuff, wasn't it? You might want to make a note of the final round of that Shell Oil Super Cup. It's Brands Hatch, September the 17th.